Hey everyone, this is Danny with Stuff I Kind of Care About, and today I'm playing with some 2x4s. I'm making another one of these. So this is going to be a rack for all of my rolls of fabric. I've got some 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC, and that's going to go through all of these holes here. I'm going to have end caps on it, and this is going to lean up against my wall, and it's going to be wide enough to have these rolls hanging horizontally. It's going to save me a lot of room having all these rolls of fabric hanging everywhere, and it's also going to make them way easier to get at, which is what I'm very excited about. So I've already done this one to make sure I know what I'm doing, and now I'm going to do this second piece and bring you along for the ride. So I know my overall length of this piece is 75 inches. And I did that to give myself plenty of room to play with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my square and I'm going to get my line set at 75 inches. And I'm going to take my trusty pull saw and I'm going to go ahead and make this cut. But making this cut, I'd just like to have my board in place. So I'm going to be using a handy bar clamp, which I just got and I'm in love with. So now you can see that's not going anywhere. So I can make this cut and I can make this actually look really good. And I'm just going to kind of start this curve on the push stroke a little bit, and then we're just going to cut it out. So the cut is done. It's not the cleanest cut I've ever made, and that's fine. I'm going to take my Dremel with a little rotary sanding bit on it, and I'm just going to clean up the end. This cut doesn't have to be perfectly parallel or perpendicular to this. This is going to be the top of this piece, so it doesn't have to be the best thing I've ever done. And the reason I have this out is I'm actually going to be running this around every hole that I drill. It's just a good way to kind of clean this thing up. Now that that's done, I don't need these clamps anymore. I will say one thing, I don't have a ton of room in my workroom. I'm working in about an 11 by 11 room. For some reason it looks big on this in this video, but it's really not big. And I don't have a lot of room for tools, but this is something that I absolutely decided to make room for. Bar clamps are like one of my favorite things ever when it comes to woodworking. So now that I have that done, I know what the rest of this is doing. This is going to be my top, and we're going to go ahead and do that. And this is also going to be my inside, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And there's a reason for that, because I want to make the cleanest side the one that the fabric sits on. And so that's just going to help. When you're using a big old beefy Forstner bit, it gets really rough popping out the backside. I know I need 12 holes, and each hole is going to be set. The first one comes 3 inches from the top, and then the center line is 5 inches apart. So I'm doing my first hole at 3 inches. All right, so 3, and then 5 inches off of that is 8 inches. So I have my 12 holes laid out on this, and I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but you've got these lines here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my square to 1.75 inches, which I've already measured this width here, and I know that's exactly half. So when I put this square over this, I can make a really cool X very, very quickly. Okay, so all of my layout hole marks are on this board, And now comes the fun part. I'm going to try to push this through and get myself all of these holes done pretty quickly. I'm going to have to flip the board around. I did want to show you one thing. This is the bottom, and I'm leaving a little bit of space without holes in it, just so that I can not have to reach all the way to ground level when I'm going for fabric. So the top will be here, and the bottom is just bending over a little bit. And hopefully this goes well, and if it doesn't, it was nice knowing you. I ran out of battery on my first hole. Two things. One, I'm done. Victory. The holes have been drilled. This thing looks so good. Secondly, I hope you all appreciate what I go through. I'm literally doing this in my spare bedroom, which is carpeted. So now I have to clean these off of carpet, which is going to be awesome. So I'm actually going to turn off the camera and take a little bit of a break to clean up my workroom and hopefully get all these wood shavings up. I promise I'm going to be finding weird little curly cues of wood scrap for the next several months at least. So, catch you on the flip side. Okay, so let me show you. This thing's done. It's looking great. And I literally don't have enough room in this room to do all the PVC on camera and show you what that's going to look like. So I'm just going to cut one of them in here and show you, and then we can go from there. So I know that my rolls of fabric are right at about 5 feet. Now, I'm going to have an end cap on here that's going to take up at least 1 inch. And then I've got this 2x4. And those measure 1.5 inches. So I need to accommodate for 2 2x4s, which is 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches. That'll be 3 inches. And then let's say another 2 inches for each end cap. It's probably about 1.5 inches, but I'd rather have 1 inch extra in the middle of this than not have enough room for these rolls of fabric. So I'm going to be cutting 5.5 foot lengths of this PVC. And that's my mark. It can be off up to 1/4 inch either way. But I'm going to be using my quick cutting tool. And this thing just ratchets on in. Alright, so now I've got an extra 4.5 foot length, and I'm going to have a lot of these, unfortunately, because this comes in 10-foot lengths, and I can't just do 5 feet for these. So I'm going to have a lot of these hanging out. Not to worry, you know me, I will find something weird to do with them eventually. So this is the delicious fabric rack in all of its exquisite beauty. Sorry, my kitchen's kind of a wreck. You can probably see some odds and ends in the corner of the shot, but look at how beautiful it is. So that's it, and this is all of the PVC I have left from that build. I ended up having to run back out to my local hardware store and get some couplers, and then I just cut 1 foot lengths off of one of these 4 foot pieces and coupled them to the end of the 4.5 foot ones, and it worked perfectly. I also had a couple other pieces of scrap PVC laying around. So you're not going to be able to do the build with the 6 pieces that I had. You may need a little bit more than that. But if your rolls aren't that wide, then you can do the thing at 5 feet, and that's awesome. Some of those fabric rolls would have fit. There are a few that are way too big for it. So I wanted to say thank you so much for watching, for hanging out. I hope you're enjoying the channel. If you are and you want to participate, hit that subscribe, hit the like, do all that stuff. But also, start throwing me some ideas in the comments down below the video. Let me know what you're thinking of me making. Next on the docket, specifically, I'm going to be working on a leather plague doctor mask, and I've got a weird sort of take on that I'm going to do. Other than that, it's just going to be whatever happens to come up to me and say, hey, you should take care of this problem. This fabric shelf or rack or whatever you want to call it, that was a problem. I decided to build a solution to it instead of just buying something or putting up with it. So now I've got some more space in this corner again. I'm going to rearrange a few things, use that corner for some of my loose pipes, like some of this stuff that you see back here, all that molding. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Have an awesome weekend. Go forth and live your best life. I'll catch you next time.